Hi, it's Dr. Marvin Bird here with professional development that will benefit any teacher regardless of the content you teach or the age of your students. Today I want to talk to you about the proper use of Microsoft PowerPoint, especially as it relates to teenagers as your audience. Now I want you to think about this for a moment. Think about the last professional development meeting that you had. Now, quite frankly, you probably went to that meeting with things going through your mind. Perhaps there was a challenging issue with the student that you need to deal with. Perhaps there are papers that you need to grade because it's the end of the quarter. Perhaps you even brought those papers to the meeting to grade because it's the end of the quarter and you need to get them graded. But I want you to think about what goes through your mind as soon as the presenter flashes up a PowerPoint screen that looks like this. And so we have a slide here, and the topic is World War II, and we will take this from top to bottom. Our title of the slide should tell us exactly what to expect as we read forward. It will act as let's say, a trailer for a movie, for example. So when we look at this title, it says World War II, and the text is about World War II. However, this title should tell us a little bit more. It should be a little bit more specific. This title is far too vague because there were many things that happened during World War II between the years 1939 and 1945. This should give us a preview of what we're going to read going forward. Now also down here, whenever Microsoft PowerPoint is squeezing the text that you're typing into the box, then you know you've got far too much information. And so the word that comes to my mind when I see a slide like this is it's just definitely overwhelming. It is just far too overwhelming. And so also you'll see that there's no picture with this as well to just break up some of the monotony of text from left to right, top to bottom. And so there is a better way to format this slide, and we're going to look at that a little bit later. Now, I don't know about you, but I'll go out there and I'll be honest. But whenever I see a screen like this, that is an invitation to shut down, think about something else, do something else, simply because, as I said before, it's overwhelming. There is no focal point on such a slide. And so I know, or I believe, that many of you out there watching this, you agree with me and you've seen this slide in a meeting before, and it's definitely overwhelming. And definitely what would make something such as this slide worse is if the presenter started to read it to you. Can I go to the bathroom? That's what time that is. So think about this. If it's that way for adults, if we have a breaking point and we have moments when it's hard for us to pay attention as a result of what's on the screen, if we go through those times, then what do you think the students are feeling? You know, and we know that our students, they're younger, and so they don't understand the importance of being able to sit down and take information in. And so the purpose of this lesson is not to say that you shouldn't be lecturing or you shouldn't be using PowerPoints. You absolutely should ease them into learning how to take information from PowerPoints and take information from lectures. So please don't think that that's what I'm saying. But I believe that there's a right way and there's a wrong way in order to use this means of getting the information across to students. Now, whenever I'm lecturing using a PowerPoint in class, I stick to the ICE method, and that is simply an acronym using the letters ICE, just to make things simple and sweet. So let's look at that I. That I stands for interactive. Now, whenever I'm lecturing, I make sure that I am constantly peppering my students with questions because I want to make sure that they don't mentally check out during the lecture. And so either I will verbally ask them questions that go along with the information, or there will be a question that's posted at the end of the new information that I'm giving them. Also, what you want to do is you want to have a call to action. A call to action. Again, what a call to action does is it gives relevance to what you are doing. So you've got your objective on the board and you've emphasized it at the beginning of class. Now you've given them information on the PowerPoint. Now it's time for a call to action. Now, as a result of the information that you have given them, can they master the objective? Now, if the answer is yes, then what you've done is you've built up a lot of trust for yourself in the eyes of your students, because they know that you're not going to waste their time by having them just write stuff down that really doesn't matter, that's not going to help them in the long run. Also, with my lectures, whenever I lecture, I don't call it a lecture, I call it an interactive discussion. Because I shouldn't be the only one talking during a lecture. And also with a lecture, I think it's an opportunity to discover. It's an opportunity for the students to discover as they're hearing and recording the information. They should be able to discover the new information as well, with the teacher right there guiding them and helping them along the way. Now, creative. The C stands for creative. As you can see here with this slide here, I've used one of the designs from Microsoft in order to make this something that's very nice to look at. And also, you want to make sure that you're doing this, because think about the process that people go through when they purchase a house. If they walk in and they see something that they don't like, more than likely they're not going to be willing to look at the rest of the house, because the first thing that they see is not very visually appealing to them. And so the same holds true for a Microsoft PowerPoint. You want to pick something that looks nice. Also, please get familiar with all of the Microsoft functions. There's a lot of different things with Microsoft that you can do. As you see what I'm doing here, when I bring these things up, I'm using the animation function for Microsoft. And definitely, I think that with students, you'll want to do that, because you don't want the students mindlessly just writing stuff down so they can have it recorded. You want them to stay with you. And so using the animation function is a way to guard against them just writing stuff down. The E stands for essential, and this is so important. You have to remember, and the way I learned the wrong way how to put PowerPoints together is, well, it's hard to get students to read, so therefore, to save students from having to read and choosing not to read, we'll just give it to them on a PowerPoint. And so I learned the wrong way, so I just splashed everything from the book onto the PowerPoint, and that is the wrong way to put together a PowerPoint presentation. You can never put it all on one slide, and if you try to get it all to them via a PowerPoint presentation, you're going to be lecturing from bell to bell, and definitely you don't want to do that. So what you need to do is you need to only put on the slide the most essential information. And then in your title, what you want to do is you want to put the main idea. You want to use the main idea as your title. And again, what that does is that gives a reader an understanding of what they're looking for going forward. And so everything in the body of the PowerPoint slide should point back to the main idea. And again, that gives relevance. The number one thing we need to consider when we're creating PowerPoints is the fact that our audience consists of teenagers. They're young people. And so throughout the day, there are numerous things competing for their attention. There's social media, TV, friends. All these things compete for their attention. And so we just need to keep these things in mind as we're creating our PowerPoint/lecture and delivering it as well. Now, I'm not saying that we need to lessen the rigor, but what I am saying is that if we're systematic about the way that we deliver that information, then our students have a better chance of retaining the information. So going back to this slide that I showed you originally, this is definitely not the way you want to put together a PowerPoint for your students, or for adults for that matter as well. Now, we talked about how there's just way too much information here, left to right, top to bottom. We also talked about the fact that there's no picture to break up the monotony, and we also discussed how the title is very vague. Now, here's what we've done to kind of clean this up. Now we see here, this follows the ICE method. It's simple. There is room to ask questions, because what we've done in the body is we have eliminated some of that information. And what this does is it gives you as a teacher the opportunity to ask students to foreshadow what's going to happen next. Also, we have a picture here, we have a visual. This can also be a conversation starter, a discovery point for students to ponder what could possibly happen next. Also, going back up to the top here with our title, we see that we have a declarative statement, and that everything in the body of the PowerPoint backs up this statement right here. And so this, when you allow students to take notes off a PowerPoint like this, this is going to facilitate their study time, because it gets right to the point with this statement here. And so everything else backs up that statement. Now let me go back. Again, we have taken all of this information and we have trimmed the fat to only give students the essential information. And so this is what we end up with. We've got a nice design, it's visually appealing, and it's not overwhelming. And so this slide, as opposed to this slide, is we're going to have better results, because we're not going to overwhelm our students, and we're not going to invite them to give up. And so the main idea here is that there's a right way and a wrong way to put together a PowerPoint for students. Students have a short attention span, and we do as well. And so we definitely should be more strategic as far as how we structure that PowerPoint, so that we give students a chance to take in that information and be successful. Please consider my latest book as a means of reaching students and helping them do what they need to do in order to be successful. It's called Make It Plain: Keys to Being a Successful High School Student. You can get it on Amazon, it's $15, or contact me if you would like to purchase a bulk order. Thank you so much for your consideration. Bye.